Tony Gwynn was not just one of the greatest hitters baseball has ever seen. He was a master of the art of hitting, a true strategist of the game. In an era dominated by explosive players focused on power, Gwynn defied the norms with an approach rooted in precise contact and meticulous pitch reading. His legacy is not only defined by his impressive 3,141 hits, but also by the profound impact he left on the game, transforming how both technique and mental preparation are understood in the sport. I am Alder Santos, and welcome to our channel, Legends of Baseball. But what really made Gwynn so special? How did he manage to maintain such a high batting average for 2 decades, even in a constantly evolving baseball landscape? While his name is primarily revered for his offensive ability, few know that Gwynn also excelled as a defender. His 5 Gold Glove awards in right field and his sharp reading of plays are often overshadowed by his brilliance with the bat. He had a rare vision of the game, one that transcended physical skill and positioning. Gwynn understood baseball on a nearly cerebral level, adjusting with precision to face any challenge. His relentless pursuit of perfection, both offensively and defensively, made him one of the most complete players of all time. Watch this video until the end and discover the secrets behind Tony Gwynn's incredible career, one of the greatest hitters in baseball history. From his flawless technique to moments that almost changed the course of the sport, you won't want to miss a single detail. Leave your opinion in the comments and share what impressed you most about the journey of this legend. But perhaps the greatest mystery surrounding Tony Gwynn is what could have been if it hadn't been for the 1994 strike. That year, the baseball world was about to witness a rare feat. Gwynn was closer than any player since Ted Williams to reaching the legendary .400 mark. The season was abruptly interrupted, and Gwynn's dream of becoming the first player to hit that mark since 1941 was dashed in a matter of days. What if he had had the chance to finish that season? What would it have meant for his career and for the history of baseball? These are just a few of the questions that make Gwynn's legacy even more fascinating, leaving everyone wondering what more he could have accomplished. Tony Gwynn was born on May 9, 1960, in Los Angeles, California, and grew up in the city of Long Beach. From an early age, he demonstrated a natural affinity for sports, especially baseball and basketball. His athletic talent was evident, but interestingly, during his youth, he didn't see himself exclusively as a baseball player. In fact, during high school at Long Beach Polytechnic High School, he stood out more in basketball than on the diamond. This versatility in sports would become a trademark of his collegiate career. Upon finishing high school, Gwynn received a scholarship to play basketball at San Diego State University, SDSU, where he enrolled in 1977. He accepted the offer to play as a point guard on the basketball team, a position that required game vision, agility, and quick thinking. It wasn't until after his first year that he decided to also join the university's baseball team. This decision would become a turning point in his athletic journey, as it quickly became clear that his talent for hitting was exceptional. In basketball, Gwynn was a skilled point guard and an exceptional passer. Throughout his career at SDSU, he set assist records and quickly became one of the team's key players. To this day, he is one of the few athletes in NCAA Division I history to accumulate over 1,000 points and 500 assists in college basketball. His understanding of team play in basketball ultimately influenced his approach to baseball, where he developed a meticulous and strategic method for facing opposing pitchers. As he was growing in basketball, Gwynn began to shine in baseball as well. His talent for making contact with the ball and his incredible discipline at the plate caught the attention of Major League Baseball, MLB scouts. During his years at SDSU, he posted impressive batting averages and demonstrated a unique ability to put the ball in play. Not only did he have a natural and fluid swing, but he also had an intelligent approach that allowed him to adjust his style to different pitches and situations. In 1981, his final year at SDSU, Gwynn had a memorable day that would change his destiny. On the same day, he was selected in the MLB draft by the San Diego Padres and in the NBA draft by the San Diego Clippers. This rare feat highlighted his elite athletic ability and the dilemma of which path to follow. However, he chose baseball, believing that his hitting skills would provide him with a longer and more successful career. It was a decision that would define his legacy and transform him into one of the greatest hitters in the history of the game. Gwynn's impact at SDSU was so significant that years later, he would return to the university as the baseball team's coach, helping to shape new generations of players. His name remains associated with SDSU not only as one of the institution's greatest athletes, but also as a mentor and an example of dedication to the sport. His time at the university shaped the player he would become and paved the way for his legendary MLB career. Tony Gwynn was selected by the San Diego Padres in the third round of the 1981 MLB draft as the 58th overall pick. Interestingly, on the same day, he was also drafted by the San Diego Clippers in the NBA draft, but chose to pursue a career in baseball. The decision was based both on his love for the game and on the perception that his hitting abilities could provide him with a longer and more successful career. The Padres quickly recognized his potential and sent him to the minors, where he began further honing his batting technique. In the minors, Gwynn impressed with his plate discipline and ability to consistently hit to all fields. His meticulous approach to the game caught the attention of the organization, who saw that he could become an elite hitter. He quickly rose through the Padres' development system, and just over a year after being drafted, he was called up to the big leagues. His MLB debut came on July 19, 1982, against the Philadelphia Phillies. In just his second game, he recorded his first 2 hits in the MLB, including an RBI, run batted in against Steve Carlton, one of the best pitchers of the time. From that moment on, Gwynn began to solidify his position as the Padres' top hitter. Even facing the typical struggles of a rookie, he displayed patience and intelligence rarely seen in young players. His work ethic and dedication to studying the game helped him evolve quickly. He used videos to analyze his batting mechanics and understand the patterns of opposing pitchers, something innovative for the time. This strategic approach would become one of his trademarks throughout his career. Gwynn stayed with the Padres for his entire career, something rare in modern baseball. In an era when many players switched teams in search of more lucrative contracts or opportunities in larger markets, he remained loyal to the San Diego franchise. This commitment made him not only the greatest star in the team's history, but also an icon in the city. His impact was so significant that after his retirement, the number 19 was officially retired by the franchise, immortalizing his legacy as the greatest player to ever wear the Padres uniform. Tony Gwynn was widely recognized as a master of hitting, one of the most consistent and technically refined players in the history of baseball. He had exceptional control of the bat, making precise contact with the ball almost every time he stepped up to the plate. His ability to hit to all fields, rather than relying on brute strength, made him one of the most difficult players to retire. While many hitters focused on power and home runs, Gwynn stood out for his absolute control of the strike zone and his ability to put the ball in play with surgical precision. One of Gwynn's greatest strengths was his ability to adapt against any type of pitcher. He studied each pitcher's patterns meticulously, observing their tendencies and adjusting his swing as necessary. In a sport where a .300 batting average is already considered excellent, Gwynn finished his career with an impressive .338 average. He could read pitches before they even reached the plate, allowing him to react quickly and make solid contact even against the best pitchers in the league. One of the most revolutionary aspects of his approach was the use of videos to analyze his own performance, something uncommon at the time. Gwynn frequently watched recordings of his games to study his batting mechanics and identify necessary adjustments. He also analyzed videos of opposing pitchers to understand their tendencies, anticipating how he would be attacked at the plate. This analytical mindset gave him a competitive edge, allowing him to prepare better than most hitters of his era. His mastery at the plate resulted in 8 National League batting titles, an extraordinary feat that places him among the greatest in history in this category. He is also famous for his low strikeout rate, something rare in high-level offensive players. To put it into perspective, in 20 seasons in MLB, he only had 3 games in his entire career where he struck out 3 times in the same game. This level of consistency and offensive discipline made Tony Gwynn a true genius at the plate, admired by teammates, coaches, and fans to this day. Tony Gwynn established himself as one of the greatest hitters in history by winning 8 National League batting titles, an impressive achievement that ranks him among the most dominant players of all time. He won his first batting crowns in 1984 and 1987, solidifying himself as the league's best contact hitter. In the 1990s, he elevated his game even further, winning 6 titles between 1994 and 1997, including 4 consecutive titles, a very rare feat. His consistency over more than a decade reinforces his status as one of the most skilled hitters of the modern era. Throughout his career, Gwynn maintained a batting average of .338, an extraordinary number, especially in an era when most players stayed below .300. This performance placed him in an elite group of baseball legends, comparable to greats like Ty Cobb, Ted Williams, and Rod Carew. Unlike many hitters who had exceptional seasons followed by drops in performance, Gwynn maintained a level of excellence rarely seen year after year. What made his batting titles even more impressive was his ability to hit well against any type of pitcher. He could adapt to both fastball pitchers and those with off-speed pitches, adjusting his swing and exploiting any openings in the opponent's defense. His talent for directing hits to different parts of the field made it extremely difficult to position defenders against him, which contributed to his incredible consistency at the plate. Even playing in an era where power and home runs began to dominate the game, Gwynn maintained his classic contact hitter style, proving that intelligence and technique could be just as effective as raw power. His 8 batting titles are a testament to his dedication to the craft and his unparalleled ability with the bat, cementing him as one of the greatest hitters baseball has ever seen. The 1994 season was one of the most special and frustrating moments of Tony Gwynn's career. He was having an extraordinary campaign, hitting .394, something no player had achieved since Ted Williams in 1941, when the legendary Boston Red Sox hitter finished the season with .406. Many experts believe that if the season had continued, Gwynn would have had a real chance to reach or even surpass that historic .400 mark, a feat that seemed impossible in the modern era of baseball. Unlike many hitters who start strong and then decline in performance, Gwynn seemed to be improving as the season progressed. In the final 35 games before the league shut down, he posted an impressive .423 average, suggesting he was at the peak of his performance and would have kept up the pace for the rest of the season. Additionally, his disciplined approach and deep understanding of his hitting mechanics gave him a unique advantage, making the dream of reaching .400 feasible. Unfortunately, the 1994 season was interrupted by the players' strike, which began in August and ultimately canceled the remainder of the schedule, including the playoffs and the World Series. It was a devastating blow to baseball, which lost one of the most exciting seasons in its history. For Gwynn, it was particularly painful, as he was only 3 or 4 hits per month away from hitting .400, something no other player had come so close to achieving in recent decades. Many fans and experts believe that without the strike, he would have gone down in history by breaking that legendary barrier. even without officially reaching the .400 mark. The 1994 season further solidified Tony Gwynn's legacy as one of the greatest hitters of all time. His phenomenal performance proved that he was a truly unique talent, capable of challenging records once considered unreachable in modern baseball. To this day, his .394 average that season remains one of the best individual performances in baseball history, leaving fans wondering what might have been if the season had not been interrupted. Tony Gwynn was one of the most respected and admired players of his era, which was reflected in his impressive 15 All-Star Game selections. From his first appearance in 1984 to his last in 1999, he was consistently recognized as one of the best players in the National League. His presence in the All-Star Game was a celebration of his skill, consistency, and respect within the league. In addition to being one of the most voted players by fans and coaches, he always showed great competitiveness and joy in sharing the field with the greatest baseball stars. Throughout those 15 All-Star Game appearances, Gwynn made a significant impact. In 1994, he scored the game-winning run for the National League in a memorable extra-inning play. His charisma and humility also made him one of the most beloved figures in these events, and his meticulous approach to the game was something even the best players admired. His consistency over nearly 2 decades showed that he was not just a passing talent, but one of the greatest hitters in history. In addition to his All-Star appearances, Gwynn was awarded the Silver Slugger Award 7 times, given to the best hitter at each position. These awards, won between 1984 and 1997, highlight the dominance he exhibited over opposing pitchers. Throughout his career, he not only maintained an extremely high batting average, but also adapted his game to remain effective as he aged. His Silver Sluggers are a testament to his refined technique and the unmatched quality of his contact with the ball. These awards and recognitions reinforce the greatness of Gwynn's career. Even in an era with many great hitters, he stood out for his consistency, intelligence at the plate, and dedication to improving his game. His 15 All-Star selections and 7 Silver Sluggers solidify his place among the greatest players of all time, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire new generations of athletes. While Tony Gwynn is best remembered for his incredible skill with the bat, his defense was often underrated. Playing right field throughout his career with the San Diego Padres, he displayed exceptional play reading, always positioning himself well to catch difficult balls. Moreover, his smooth movements and defensive intelligence made up for any lack of speed, making him a highly reliable defender. His defensive work was recognized with 5 Gold Glove Awards, given to the best defensive player at each position between 1986 and 1991. These awards highlight that he was not only one of the best hitters in the league, but also an elite outfielder. Gwynn mastered the fundamentals of defense, exhibiting quick reflexes and a sharp instinct for anticipating the trajectory of the ball. Even though he wasn't known for spectacular plays, his consistency and efficiency in right field were unparalleled. One of the most underrated attributes of his defense was his precise and strategic throwing arm. While he didn't have one of the strongest arms among outfielders, he made up for it with impeccable mechanics and great accuracy. His ability to make accurate throws to the bases often prevented opposing runners from advancing, an aspect of the game that doesn't always show up in the statistics but made a big difference for his team. Gwynn's defensive legacy proves that he was a complete and versatile player, contributing both offensively and defensively. His mindset of always striving to improve and prepare meticulously extended beyond his batting and was also reflected in his work as a defender. His 5 Gold Gloves are a testament to his excellence in right field, reinforcing that he was much more than just one of the greatest hitters of all time. He was a true specialist in all aspects of the game. Tony Gwynn was a key figure in both of the San Diego Padres World Series appearances in 1984 and 1998. In 1984, only his third season in the MLB, he played a leadership role in helping the Padres secure their first National League title, ensuring the franchise's first trip to the MLB Finals. During that season, Gwynn led the team with an impressive .351 batting average, winning his first league batting title. His consistency at the plate and presence in the lineup were essential for the Padres to defeat the Chicago Cubs in the National League Championship Series, after being down 2-0 in the best-of-5 series. In the 1984 World Series, the Padres faced the powerful Detroit Tigers, who had won 104 games in the regular season. Despite Gwynn's effort, recording a .263 average in the series, the Padres couldn't overcome the strength of the Tigers, losing in 5 games. Even with the frustration of the loss, that experience served as an important learning opportunity for Gwynn, who would continue to evolve and establish himself as one of the best hitters in history. 14 years later, in 1998, toward the end of his career, Gwynn had another chance to win an MLB title, leading the Padres to another World Series. He was a central figure in securing the National League title, especially in the championship series against the Atlanta Braves, when the Padres surprised a team filled with stars like Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and Chipper Jones. Gwynn's experience and consistent performance helped the franchise advance to its second-ever World Series appearance. In the 1998 World Series, the Padres faced the New York Yankees, one of the most dominant teams in history, who won 114 games in the regular season. Despite the tough opposition, Gwynn had a great performance, batting .500 in the series, 8 hits and 16 at-bats, including a memorable home run in the first game off David Wells. However, the Yankees were simply superior and swept the Padres in 4 games, once again frustrating Gwynn's dream of winning a World Series ring. Even without the title, his performances in those campaigns showed that he was a true leader and symbol of the franchise, taking the Padres to the highest level of competition in their history. Tony Gwynn ended his legendary career at the conclusion of the 2001 season, after 20 years playing exclusively for the San Diego Padres. Over those 2 decades, he accumulated 3,141 hits, a number that placed him among the greatest of all time. Additionally, he maintained an impressive .338 batting average, one of the highest in the modern era. Even while dealing with injuries in his later years, Gwynn remained loyal to the franchise, rejecting opportunities to play for other teams to finish his career where it started, a rare feat in professional baseball. After his retirement, recognition of his greatness came quickly. In 2007, in his first year of eligibility, Gwynn was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame with 97.6% of the vote, one of the highest percentages in history. His election was a celebration not only of his genius as a hitter, but also of his exemplary character both on and off the field. That same year, another MLB icon, Cal Ripken Jr., was also inducted, making that ceremony one of the most memorable in Hall of Fame history. Gwynn's impact on baseball goes far beyond the numbers. He was a player who redefined the concept of offensive consistency and dedication to the study of the game. His innovative use of video to analyze hitting influenced future generations, becoming a common practice among MLB players. Additionally, his commitment to the Padres and his community made him a symbol of loyalty and professionalism, qualities that earned him the respect of peers, coaches, and fans. Even after his retirement, Gwynn continued contributing to baseball as a coach at San Diego State University, SDSU, where he inspired new talent and shared his vast knowledge of the game. Sadly, he passed away in 2014 at the age of 54 due to complications from cancer. However, his legacy lives on, whether through his on-field accomplishments or the lasting impact he had on the sport and the city of San Diego. Tony Gwynn was not only one of the greatest hitters in history, he was a true ambassador of baseball. After retiring from professional baseball, Tony Gwynn found a new passion in teaching and developing young talent. He became a baseball coach at San Diego State University, SDSU, where he had played during his college career. Gwynn dedicated himself to developing future players, sharing his vast knowledge of hitting mechanics, mental preparation, and the work ethic that made him one of the greatest hitters in history. Under his guidance, several of his players excelled, and he became a respected and inspirational figure both on and off the college fields. Gwynn also used his position to educate young players about the importance of discipline and meticulous preparation. He always emphasized the importance of studying the game, something he himself did throughout his career. Even after leaving the major leagues, he continued to positively impact baseball, helping shape the next generation of athletes. His experience as a player, combined with his passion for teaching, made him an invaluable mentor to many who followed in his footsteps. However, Gwynn's life was tragically cut short in 2014 when he passed away due to complications from oral cancer, a disease he had battled in the final years of his life. The cause of his illness was widely attributed to his use of tobacco during his career, something Gwynn had publicly admitted. His death at the age of 54 deeply saddened the baseball world, with tributes of respect and gratitude coming from all corners, including fellow players, coaches, and fans. Although his life was prematurely interrupted, Tony Gwynn's legacy remains intact. He not only left an immense impact on the field, but also helped shape the mindset of what it means to be a complete athlete, both technically and intellectually. His contributions to baseball, his commitment to education, and his integrity off the field continue to inspire. Gwynn remains an eternal icon in the sport, remembered for his unparalleled ability to hit and his admirable character. Tony Gwynn was much more than a great baseball player. He was an example of dedication, discipline, and passion for the sport, qualities that transcended the boundaries of the field. His journey, which lasted 2 decades with the San Diego Padres, was not just based on technical skill, but on an unwavering commitment to constant improvement. While modern baseball seemed to increasingly stray from the traditional virtues of the game, Gwynn never lost sight of what made him special. His incredible ability to make contact with the ball, his patience at the plate, and his meticulous mentality of study and preparation. What was most fascinating about Gwynn is that he didn't limit himself to being just a good player, but constantly challenged the very definition of what it meant to be a great hitter. He didn't believe that the key to success was only about big plays, but in the repetition of simple and fundamental work day after day. Gwynn knew that to achieve excellence, one had to do the right things repeatedly, and it was this commitment to consistency that made him so iconic. Most players of his generation sought power and impressive numbers, but Gwynn understood that true greatness came from control, precision, and reading the game. This view of baseball as an art form was not just a technique, but a way of life for him. Gwynn studied his own performance and used videos to understand his mistakes and adjust his stance. He recognized that it wasn't enough just to have natural talent. Preparation, critical analysis, and constant adaptation were the keys to longevity in the sport. He understood baseball in a deep and complex way, but his simplicity in approaching each game day with humility and dedication made him a model of leadership and professionalism. For him, every game was an opportunity for learning and improvement. Moreover, his impact wasn't limited to the field. As a coach at San Diego State University, Gwynn passed on his philosophy to a new generation of players. He didn't just develop great athletes, but also prepared his students for life, teaching them the value of perseverance, respect, and work ethic. Gwynn was undoubtedly a mentor as much as he was an athlete, and his legacy, born in San Diego, spread throughout the baseball community and beyond. He wasn't just a local icon, but an example of how baseball can shape and inspire lives. In his retirement, Gwynn could have chosen a quieter path, but he remained involved in the sport, continuing to share his knowledge and experiences. His contribution to the evolution of the game as a whole is undeniable. Even after his untimely death, he left an indelible mark not only on baseball, but also on how athletes should behave both on and off the field. He was, without a doubt, a rarity in a world where individualism often prevails. Gwynn always remained true to his team, his city, and, most importantly, the values that brought him to the top. Gwynn's loss was deeply felt by everyone involved in baseball, but his legacy lives on, not only in his impressive statistics, but in the lessons he left for players and fans. In a sport filled with great names, Tony Gwynn stands out not only for what he accomplished, but for the way he did everything. He didn't seek fame or records for their own sake, but aimed to achieve perfection in what he did. Perhaps Gwynn's greatest legacy is that he showed the world that true greatness doesn't come from being the most powerful or the fastest, but from dedicating yourself body and soul to something day after day without ever abandoning the principles that define you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel for more fascinating content, and activate the bell to receive notifications. And don't forget to leave your comment. Thus, Tony Gwynn's legacy goes beyond hits, awards, or titles. His greatest legacy is the impact he had on baseball as a whole, on how the game should be played, and most importantly, on how athletes should conduct themselves in their journey. He left us not only as the greatest hitter of his generation, but as an example of how baseball, when played the right way, can be a true school of life. Every time a player steps onto the field with humility, respect, and a desire to learn, Gwynn is present, as he represented the best that the sport has to offer. Until the next journey, dear baseball lovers,